Hi, my name is Brayson. I'm the engagement director at Kalungi. If you're a B2B SaaS company, specifically one that has been around for a while, maybe 10 or 15 years, you eventually hit a wall. You know that feeling. You have great product, you have great code that works, and you have loyal customers who swear by you, but you are struggling to break through the noise and get new ones. You look at the market, you feel squeezed. On one side, you have the gorillas competitors who are older, have bigger budgets, and are own the generic search terms. On the other side, you have the startups, VC backed, nimble, and willing to undercut your prices just to get a foothold. The problem I see consistently that mature companies try to fight in this war by listing features rather than benefits. They treat their website like a technical manual. They rely on direct sales and word of mouth, but they don't have a marketing engine that drives inbound leads predictably. They try running Google ads, but the cost per click is astronomical because their messaging is generic. They are shouting, "We are better," in a room where everyone is shouting, "We are better." Today, I want to walk you through a specific framework we use at Kalungi to fix this. It's called Better, Best, Only. This isn't just a marketing slogan. It's a discipline for scaling a B2B SaaS company. It's how you transition from being a market maker, which is exhausting and expensive, to a market shaker, where you steal market share by changing the rules of the game. To drive real demand generation, you have to understand how your buyer thinks. Buyers are risk averse. They don't buy the best product, they buy the least risky product. When you compete on features saying we have a faster dashboard or we have better reporting, you're forcing the buyer to do a direct comparison. You're making them do the math. And usually the status quo wins the calculation. We have to move you up the ladder. Level one is better. What are you better at in your competition? This is about marginal gains. If your competitor is the 800-pound gorilla, where are they slow? Where are they expensive? Maybe your UI is cleaner, or your implementation takes 2 weeks instead of 6 months. You have to know this, but you can't build a marketing strategy on it. Being better is a race to the bottom because someone can always come along and be slightly faster or slightly cheaper than you. Level two is best. Now we are getting somewhere. What what are you the absolute best at in your specific category? This isn't about being good at everything for everyone. It's about being the best at one specific thing for a specific type of person. If you sell HR software, don't sell HR software. Be the best HR software for remote first manufacturing companies. Suddenly, you aren't competing with the giants, you're owning a room. Level three is only. This is the hardest one, but it's the most important. What do you only do that nobody else does? What is the differentiator that makes you unique? This is your moat. When you have an only, you have zero competitors. You aren't asking the customer to compare you. You're asking them to choose and make a choice. Do they want the solution to this specific problem, or do they want to keep suffering? Let me give you a concrete story to show you how this looks in the wild. I was speaking to a safety inspection SaaS platform. They were in a brutal market. They were competing against massive publicly traded companies that had been industry standard for 20 years. When we did their T2, D3 growth workshop, I noticed their website had this header: safety inspections made easy. Well, guess what? The competitors had this: the easiest way to do safety inspections. It was the same thing. So we dug into better, best, only framework together. And then we started with what's better. So their UI was more modern. It didn't move the needle though. Then we move into what is best. They were great for construction, but it was still too broad. Then we moved into only. We discussed their support tickets and their happiest customers, and we found something interesting. Their software had a unique architecture that allowed it to work flawlessly offline, syncing thousands of data points without crashing. The competitors, on the other hand, their apps would crash if you lost cell service. So we were able to narrow down and find the only, which we realized was their perfect customer. But their perfect customer wasn't just construction sites. It was construction sites in remote locations, specifically tunnels, mines, and rural bridges. I offered my feedback on changing the headline on their site, like stop saying safety software and start framing yourself as the only offline first mobile inspection platform. They could target safety directors who worked in tunnels and mines. The result of doing this, they stopped comparing features. If you work in a mine, you cannot use the competitor. You have to use us. We became a necessity, not a commodity. So now, how do you find your only? This can't be something you just brainstorm in a boardroom. You need data. First, the audit. Before we ever write a line of copy at Kalungi, we conduct a 95-point audit. We look at your sales decks, your website, SEO, your Google Drive assets. We listen to your sales calls, and we talk with your customers. We look for the say-do gap. This is your marketing saying one thing, but your sales team is saying another. Usually the sales team knows the only, because they use it to close deals, but it never makes it to the website. Second, defining the P1 and P2 personas. Most SaaS companies fail here because they mix up the buyer and the user. P1 is the economic buyer. They care about ROI, risk mitigation, and compliance of the platform. The P2 is the end user, person using the platform. They care about ease of use, speed, and not getting yelled at by their boss. When I spoke with a donor management platform for nonprofits, we realized they were trying to just sell ease of use, a P2 value to the executive director, but a P1 buyer. The director didn't care about clicks. She cared about donor retention rates. They needed to niche down. Come to find out, their best feature set was actually the land trust, which was completely off base from whom they were originally marketing to. If they had shifted the messaging to speak to the P1 language, the P1's personal language, they probably could have increased their land trust donor retention by 20%. By specializing in a specific segment, you can charge more and expand your average revenue per unit, your ARPU, because you're providing a specialized expert solution, not a generic tool. Now, once you have the messaging, how do you deploy it? This is where the rubber meets the road. You need to align inbound and outbound. Inbound, stop writing generic blogs posts like 5 tips for better management. Write content that addresses the pain of your only feature set. For the land trust example, we could have written the guide on how to handle federal grant reporting for land trust nonprofit organizations. If you're a land trust, you'd have to read that. In outbound strategy, we do something called account-based marketing, or ABM. We build a high-quality list of your exact ICP, the people who suffer most without your only, and we don't just email them, we get physical. We have seen incredible success using this. So video mailers, maybe, for example, we have sent physical box to the CEO. We have a physical box sent to the CEO. They open it, and inside is a screen that autoplays a video specific to their exact pain point. Not a commercial, but a direct personal introduction to the product and the solution to the P1's pain point. Some basic things we could have potentially said, where I know that when your team goes into tunnels, their iPads crash. We fix that. It works because it respects their time, it targets their specific pain, and it proves you understood their world. Now, applying the better best only isn't just a marketing exercise, it's a basic business strategy. By focusing on this framework, you de-risk your growth, you stop guessing what works and start building a predictable pipeline based on clear differentiation. You move from being a nice to have commodity to a must have necessity. So take a hard look at your messaging today. Ask yourself, what are we better at? What are we best at? And what is the only thing we can do? Thanks for watching.